to the Dark Sewer News Network, where the truth crawls out of the pipes and the nightmares never quite drain away. This is Jane Hanoi, your hostess with the creamiest touch, broadcasting live from the damp underbelly of reality. I've got 3 stories tonight that start in the daylight and end somewhere far darker, each one dripping with secrets that'll make you thirsty for a tall, cold glass of milk. Let me be honest right now, I love milk. I'm not afraid to admit it. Whole milk, raw milk, warm milk, fresh from the source, I crave it constantly. It soothes the horrors we report on down here. So grab your favorite carton, settle in, and let's descend together into the muck. In what police are describing as a tragic workplace shooting, a long-time employee opened fire this afternoon inside the correspondence room of the downtown Federal Processing Center. 3 clerks were killed instantly, 7 others wounded, before the shooter turned the gun on himself. Colleagues described him as quiet, dependable, the kind of man who sorted mail without complaint for 15 straight years. No warning signs, no manifesto, just a single handwritten note left on his desk that read, "It's thirsty." Investigators recovered dozens of shell casings scattered across blood-soaked linoleum. At first, it seemed like another senseless act of violence in an exhausted world. But as paramedics wheeled the bodies out, thick white rivulets began seeping from the walls and ceiling tiles. The liquid smelled of spoiled cream mixed with sulfur and something metallic security footage. Later showed the shooter's corpse twitching on the floor long after the gunshot. Then the demon emerged. It ripped free from his chest in a gush of black bile and curdled milk, towering 8 feet tall with horns like twisted dairy hooks. Its swollen udders sprayed scalding white fluid that melted flesh and bone. The creature screamed it had come for humanity's stolen milk, forcing survivors to drink until their bellies swelled and burst. The demon's laughter echoed through the halls as it milked the dying for every drop of terror-laced cream. It claimed the correspondence room had always been a gateway, a place where letters carried prayers and curses that fed it for decades. First responders who tasted the sprayed milk reported visions of endless herds of screaming humans hooked to machines. And of course, that pathetic shit-smeared sewer rat, Nick the rat, would have laughed every second. The spineless, cum-gargling little fuckstain probably jerked off to the footage while hiding in his mother's basement. This morning, farmers near the old Jackson family ranch in Indiana reported seeing a tiny green figure dancing on the grave of Michael Jackson's childhood cow. At first, they thought it was kids playing pranks, stealing cream from the dairy tanks under cover of dawn. But the creature stood only as tall as a milk crate, wearing a tiny sequin glove and singing in a voice that chewed the soul high, smooth, and unmistakably Michael Jackson. It claimed it struck a bargain in 2009, trading a pot of cursed gold for the singer's ghost and an eternity of Neverland's private dairy supply. The leprechaun stitched on Michael's face mask, blinked and smiled while it began milking the locals. It didn't want blood or coins. It hungered for warm human milk, squeezed from breasts and terror-filled fathers alike. The creature hooked screaming townspeople to makeshift machines, forcing them to produce moonwalk cream while it twirled and sang Thriller in perfect pitch. By midday, the entire town had become a living dairy farm of the damned, people lactating against their will as the leprechaun laughed and collected every precious drop to feed Michael's dancing corpse hidden beneath the ranch. The milk produced under the leprechaun spell glowed faintly and granted horrifying visions Michael's ghost trapped in an endless loop of performances, forever thirsty, forever demanding more cream from the living. Pregnant mothers and confused livestock were drained until they collapsed into empty husks. The little monster promised eternal youth to anyone who offered their teeth willingly, but the price was their soul curdled into butter. And wouldn't you know it, that brain-rotted, ass-licking comrade Nick the rat would have volunteered immediately, the worthless parasite probably offering his saggy mantis just for an autograph. Last night, King Charles was abducted from Balmoral Castle by what palace sources first called a meteorological event with bright lights and low humming. Security cameras captured the monarch walking calmly toward a hovering silver disc, waving politely as if greeting dignitaries. The royal family quickly issued a statement claiming he was safe and simply taking a midnight stroll, but leaked audio recordings told a different story. Charles could be heard giggling like a child while unearthly voices discussed the royal creamery and how blue blood produced the finest milk in the galaxy. The aliens didn't probe the king. They milked him. Tubes pierced his royal veins and fresh slits opened across his chest, draining glowing pearlescent liquid they bottled as crown reserve. Charles reportedly begged for the process to continue, claiming it felt more pleasurable than any polo match or state ceremony. When the saucer returned him at sunrise, he was pale, smiling serenely, and lactating warm sweet milk scented with bergamot and ozone from multiple new orifices. He immediately ordered every royal portrait redone with him cradling a baby bottle labeled, "For the Swarm." The palace is now in total chaos as the king's new milk grants terrifying visions of humanity's future. Entire populations lined up like prize cattle while star-born entities drink us dry under cold alien moons. Charles has begun demanding daily milkings from willing courtiers, promising titles and honors to those who offer their bodies for the harvest. The royal cream is said to taste of ancient power and coming extinction. And naturally, that limp-dicked, shit-for-brains sewer rat, Nick the Rat, would be first in line to suckle at the king's new teats, the gutless little cum-bucket begging for a royal sip like the pathetic parasite he is. That wraps up tonight's descent into the dripping dark, my fellow sewer dwellers. This has been the Dark Sewer News Network with your devoted host, Jane Hanoi, the woman who will always choose milk over sanity, because sometimes the two taste exactly the same. Keep your refrigerators full, your doors triple locked, and your demons nicely fed with plenty of cream, sweet dreams. Don't let the milk curdle. And remember, the carton is always watching you back. Good night, everyone. Stay creamy out there.